Hi everyone, welcome to Mr. Ma's English lesson. In this video, we are learning about countable and uncountable nouns, and the topic is food. In this video, you'll learn the names of food, countable and uncountable nouns. You will learn how to use some and any. You will learn to use how much and how many to ask questions, and also the quantifiers for food. Right, let's start with some vocabulary. Okay, do you know what these are? Now repeat after me. Pear, pear. Peach, peach. Kiwi, kiwi. Pepper, pepper. Butter, butter. Cheese, cheese. Omelette, omelette. Nuts, nuts. Peanuts, peanuts. Meal, meal. Coffee, coffee. Pancakes, pancakes. Lettuce, lettuce. Pizza, pizza. Noodles, noodles. Biscuits, biscuits. Pasta, pasta. Onions, onions. Garlic, garlic. Donut, donut. Alright, now we will look at some countable nouns, okay? Countable nouns are things that you can count, alright? So for example, we have cupcake, alright, sandwich, apple, orange, burger, fries, eggs, salad, vegetables, cookies, potatoes, tomato, carrot, hot dog, candies, olives, peanuts, pancakes, onions, watermelon, pea, grapes, cherries. Alright, so these are the food that you can count, alright? So when they are countable nouns, you can use a or an. So for example, you say a cupcake, an apple, a burger, an orange, okay? Right, so you can use there is if there is only one. So for example, there is a potato, there is an olive, okay? You use there are some when there are many. So for example, you say there are some fries, there are some vegetables, there are some potatoes, okay? So when you change the noun to the plural form, we need to add s, es or ies. So for example, there is an apple, there are some apples, apples, okay? Now when you ask question, alright, if you can count, you use how many. So for example, how many pancakes are there? Or how many carrots are there? So if there is one, we say a sandwich. If there is more than one, okay, there are some sandwiches. There is an egg, There are some eggs. There is a pear. There are 2 pears. There is a tomato. There are 3 tomatoes. So how do you know if the thing or the food can be counted? Alright? One way is to use 1, 2, 3 in front. So for example, you can say a tomato, 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes. So we know tomato can be counted. But let's say we use water as an example. Can you count water? Do you say I have a water? I have 2 waters? I have 3 waters? You don't, right? So water is an uncountable noun. You cannot count. Now let's look at some uncountable nouns, okay? Food that you can't count. I can't count, alright? So for example, you have bread, fruit, juice, meat, rice, cereal, jam, milk, coffee, sugar, flour, oil, salt, soup, tea, cottage cheese, pasta, honey, water, cheese, butter, seafood, and mustard. So these are the things that you cannot count. You don't say, I have a milk. Oh, today I drank 2 milks. You don't say that, right? Okay, so when you use countable nouns, when you use uncountable nouns, we use some or a lot of. We can't use a or an, alright? So for example, we can't say, I have a jam. No, you say, I have some jam, alright? And you use there is some, okay? You can't use there are because you can't count them. So for example, you say, there is some sugar, there is some salt, there is some cheese in the fridge. Now when we ask question, we use how much instead of how many. So for example, how much pasta is there? How much coffee is there? Okay? So remember, for uncountable nouns, we can't use 1, 2, 3 in front. Okay? We don't say a water, 2 waters. We don't say a cheese, some cheeses. No, we don't add an s to the noun because they are uncountable. We don't count them. Right, now there are some exceptions to the rules. Okay, so for example, when you ask, is there any chocolate in the fridge? Chocolate here is uncountable. But sometimes we do hear people say, I had some chocolates yesterday. So chocolates here are countable. So there are some nouns which are both countable and uncountable. So when you say chocolates, I have some chocolates, it actually means you are having small pieces of chocolate. Another example is pineapple, alright? When you say there is some pineapple on the pizza, notice pineapple here is singular and they use there is. So when you say there is some pineapple on the pizza, the pineapple is actually referring to the ingredient. We are not counting how many pineapples are there, okay? Alright? Now if you say I bought 2 pineapples yesterday, we are actually counting them. Alright? There are 2 pineapples. 1, 2. Okay? So pineapple can be both countable and uncountable noun. Right, next, we'll look at some or any with countable nouns. Alright, look at the first picture. There is an orange and a watermelon on the table. We can count both the orange and watermelon. Now, there are 3 oranges here, so we say there are some oranges. Okay, we use are because oranges. There are some oranges on the table, but there aren't any watermelons. When you don't have the watermelons, you use there aren't any watermelons. Okay? Remember, we use any when there is none or when we ask question. For example, are there any oranges on the table? No, there aren't. but there are some grapes. Some and any can also be used with uncountable nouns. So for example, we say there's some fruit juice in the fridge. Now notice, fruit juice we cannot count, so we use there is, okay? We use any for negative sentence and also question when there is none, okay? When there is none, 答的没有的时候. So for example, we say, there isn't any sugar in the fridge. There's no sugar, so we say there isn't any sugar. Sugar is uncountable, so we use isn't. We also use any when we ask questions. So for example, we ask, is there any milk in the fridge? Alright, milk is uncountable, we use is. Is there any milk in the fridge? Alright, let's come to how much and how many. Now we use how much with uncountable nouns and how many with countable nouns. So for example, bread. Okay, bread is actually an uncountable noun. We cannot count it. We don't say I have a bread, 2 breads, 3 breads. We don't say that. Okay, so if you want to ask a question, we ask how much bread do you eat every day? Now, if we are referring to the slices of bread, for example, 1 slice, 2 slices, 3 slices, we can count the slices of bread. So we ask, how many slices of bread do you eat every day? Let's look at more examples of how much and how many. So, for example, uncountable noun, how much water do you drink every day? How much fruit do you eat every day? How much time do you spend on exercising in a week? Now, time is actually a very tricky one. Remember, you cannot count time. You can count the hour, you can count the minute, you can count seconds, but you can't count time. How much milk does the baby drink every day? So water, fruit, time, and milk, they are uncountable nouns. So we use how much. How many burgers did you eat just now? How many glasses of milk do you drink every morning? How many times do you go jogging in a week? How many apples did you cut just now? So notice burgers, glasses, times, and apples, they are countable noun. Okay? Now times here, I just said time is uncountable, right? But here times refer to the frequency. Okay? How many times you go? Berapa kali Anda pergi? 一个星期你去多少次多少遍 Okay? So here times refer to how many times, the frequency of you going to a place. Alright, so you can count that. I went 1 time, 2 times, 3 times in a week. Okay? Alright, finally let's come to quantifiers. Okay? What is this? A bag of crisps. A bag of crisps. Okay? The next one, a piece of cake. A carton of milk, a box of cereal, a can of lemonade, a bottle of water, a cup of tea, a bar of chocolate, a glass of orange juice. Now notice the difference between a cup and a glass, okay? A can of tuna, a carton of eggs, a packet of flour, a bowl of salad, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of sugar, a tablespoon of oil, a tub of margarine, a scoop of ice cream. Alright, children, when you do an exercise or when you are working in your exam, alright, you have to look at the pictures or study the question carefully. So for example, for bread, we use a loaf of bread or slices of bread, 2 slices of bread. So if let's say there is a question on this, Ray had for breakfast this morning. So would you choose a loaf of bread or 2 slices of bread? So in this context, in this question, the correct answer should be 2 slices of bread. Alright, so today we have learned about food, okay, and I hope you know about countable nouns and uncountable nouns. You know how to use how much and how many. You also know how to use some and any, okay? So remember, for English, you need to have a lot of practice because practice makes perfect. Okay, thank you for watching. Take care and see you again soon. Bye.